Good evening. I'd like to call our meeting for October the 15th to order and welcome all of you who are in attendance. And it looks as though we have a fuller house this evening. I don't dare try and single everyone out, but I do see Mrs. Kim Marks, who's the CEO of Southampton Memorial Hospital. Welcome, Mrs. Marks. Good to have you here this evening. And I don't know if we have, will you just raise your hand because everybody looked Mrs. Marks when I said that. Thank you. And I don't know if we have any city council officials here this evening or not. Don't see any. And we're always glad to see our staff. Always glad to see parents and staff, and I see both. So welcome to you this evening. That's right, Mrs. Adisi. She raised her hand. You feel like a part of the faculty almost. Yes. All right, at this time, I would like to ask that we stand for our, motion to come out of closed session. Is that next or? Nope. Hang on one second. We need the pledge. Need the pledge. All right. And we welcome this evening someone from J.P. King to introduce the student. Thank you.
Miss Elizabeth Granger, 7th grader at J.P. King, is going to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Miss Granger. And if I'm not mistaken, I know the mother, a graduate of Windsor High School whom I taught. And when this young lady started school, was about to enter school, the mom came to me for counseling. And to see her here this evening is unreal because it seems as though that was just yesterday, Mrs. Granger. Thank you so very much. Certification by the school board.
Whereas the Franklin City School Board has convened a closed meeting on this day pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas Section 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Franklin City School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered.
It's probably moved in second that the Franklin City School Board has convened on a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas Section 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with the Virginia law, now therefore be it resolved that the Franklin City School Board certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge that we only acted on those two items as specified in the motion. You've heard the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. Roll call, Mrs. Kendrick, our clerk.
Robert Post.
Here.
Nancy Godwin.
Here.
Berta Jackson.
Here.
Andrea Hall Leonard.
Here.
Edna King.
Here.
Jeanette Austin. Here. Will Council.
Here.
Right. Everyone is in attendance. We have 7 members here this evening. Do we have any motions to come from the closed session?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move that we approve the personnel agenda as presented.
I second the motion.
It's been properly moved in second that we approve the personnel agenda as presented. You've heard the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. Approval of the agenda.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting, Thursday, October 15th, 2015.
It has been properly moved in second that we approve the agenda for this evening's meeting, October 15, 2015. You heard the motion. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. Good news, Dr. Bell.
Madam Chair, board members, we have some items that we want to discuss and present to you tonight under good news. First, we will look at a special recognition, the RAS Award for Ms. Leslie Morin. Unfortunately, Ms. Morin could not be in attendance tonight. However, I still would read Franklin High School science teacher Leslie Morin has been selected to be a recipient of a 2015 recognition in science education, which is the RAS Award, from the Virginia Association of Science Teachers, which is VAST. Many worthy nominations in 12 award categories were received, but only one science educator could be selected in each category. Mrs. Moore received the award in the biology category. The awards will be presented on November the 20th at the annual VAST Professional Development Institute, which is being held at the Westfield Marriott in Chantilly, Virginia. Congratulations to Mrs. Morin on being recognized for advancing excellence in science education in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And we would like to give Mrs. Morin a round of applause.
This is not an easy accomplishment.
No, ma'am.
Not wonderful. This is terrific. And I can imagine knowing her that she's somewhere tonight doing something for students.
Also, we have the Franklin City Public Schools Alumni Spotlight. This month, we would like to recognize Brooks Rainey Pearson. After graduating from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, Brooks moved to the Outer Banks and opened Outer Banks Yoga and Pilates. The Outer Banks was hungry for a yoga studio, and one studio quickly grew into 3 with a staff of 16, a retail store, and over 50 classes each week. In May of 2006, Brooks sold Outer Banks Yoga in order to return to Chapel Hill to pursue a dual degree in environmental law and city planning, again at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. She graduated in the spring of 2010 with a Juris Doctorate and a Master's in City and Regional Planning. Brooks is now an attorney at the Southern Environmental Law Center's Chapel Hill office. The Southern Environmental Law Center is a regional nonprofit using the power of the law to protect the health and environment of the Southeast, Virginia, Tennessee, North and South Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama. Founded in 1986, SELC's team of over 60 legal experts represents more than 100 partner groups on environmental issues. Brooks is part of the coal ash and hydraulic fracking litigation teams, and also represents SELC as a lobbyist at the North Carolina General Assembly. She lives in Durham with her husband Dave and enjoys teaching and practicing yoga, wandering through the woods with her dogs, and Tar Heel basketball. Congratulations to our alumni of the month, Mrs. Brooks Rainey Pearson. At this time, Mrs. Wade will come forward to recognize the student and staff attendance awards for the month of September.
Good evening, Chair King, Vice Chair Hall Leonard, board members, Dr. Bell, and Franklin community. It's my pleasure to present the Best Teacher Attendance Award and Best Student Attendance Award for the month of September 2015. I'll ask the principals to come join me. I'm going to begin with the Best Teacher Attendance Award. And this is by far the best teacher attendance of any month since I have been here given this award. And it was a very, very, very close percentage. I mean, it was like in the hundreds of a percent to break the tie. But I will tell you that none other than S.P. Martin I do want to mention what the percentage was. S.P. Martin was 96.27%. Franklin High School was 96.07%, and J.P. King was 96%. So that's awesome. So, Best Student Attendance Award, and this is the record of best student attendance, probably ever. And it goes to Franklin High School. 99.37% student attendance for September.
Wonderful. Isn't it good? Mr. Chandler, how long did you wait last year?
Long time.
Congratulations.
The story of the tortoise and the hare.
Congratulations. And we mentioned the fact that we don't think that we have seen as many teachers with 100% attendance as we saw this month. Outstanding, quite a number across the division. Congratulations to students and teachers.
Madam Chair, board members, we have one more recognition. Dr. Watson, if you come forward, Dr. Watson would like to recognize his presidents of the Student Council Association of Franklin High School for this year.
Chairwoman King, school board members, Dr. Bell. Recently, on Monday, we had our Student Council Association elections. One of Dr. Bell's initiatives this year is to have public speaking in and across the curriculum, and this was one of the ways we decided to institute that. So I want to introduce to you not only our presidents, but the other officers who attended, and if you would come forward. They're a little shy. But what they're going to do, they're going to tell you their name, their position, and which college they're going to attend in the future. And we're going to start with our flagship leaders in the senior class.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Kiana Reed. I am president of the senior class, and in the future I do plan to attend Hampton University.
Good evening. My name is Rosemary Deasy. I'm vice president of the senior class, and in the future I plan on attending Pepperdine University.
Good evening. My name is Savannah Lewis, and in the future I plan on attending Trinity University in Dublin.
Good evening. My name is Cameron Bullock. I'm president of 11th grade, and I plan on attending North Carolina State University.
Good evening. My name is Precious Stevens, and I'm the vice president for the junior class, and I plan on attending Norfolk State University.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Deontay Jeffs. I'm sophomore class president, and I plan on attending North Carolina University.
Good evening. My name is Tatiana Smith, and I am sophomore vice president, and I plan on attending Virginia State University.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Deshaun Butts. I'm freshman class president, and I plan on going to Virginia State University.
Yes.
If they could, they do have some issues that they want to come to you later on in the year with some different things. You might have to think about how you're going to get Wendy's into the school and different things like that. So, but if they could they come around and shake your hand?
Surely, by all means.
Turn around.
It will be
and
our
just
honor.
Shake everybody's hand.
Our honor.
They-
Congratulations. Wish you the very best. Congratulations. Wish you the very best. Congratulations. Congratulations. Wish you the very best. Very best. Congratulations. 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 It's wonderful. It's good to see you. Thank you so very much. Quite an experience for us in having such distinguished people here in our audience this evening. And we do always admire your students when you're here with us. Thank you for coming.
And we look forward to hearing from you in the future.
Yes, yes, by all means. Was that it, Dr.?
Yes, ma'am. That concludes the good news presentation.
All right, thank you. Citizens' time. Do we have anyone to speak this evening?
No, ma'am, we do not.
All right, thank you. Consent agenda, action to approve minutes. And we have one set of minutes, September the 17th, 2015. A motion is in order.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the school board minutes of September 17th,
2015.
2015.
Second.
It's properly moved in second that we approve the minutes of the September 17, 2015 school board meeting. You've heard the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. All right, one abstention. Mr. Counsel was absent for that. We missed you that evening. Thank you. Right. Action to approve bills for payment.
Madam Chair, board members, we'd like to call Mrs. Jarrell forward to see if there are any questions with the monthly bills. Mrs. Jarrell? We've added in an addition for board members in the description column to help identify what those bills were for as we remitted them. You notice that was one of the things that I wanted to change, so you could have that. Any questions for Mrs. Jarrell at this time?
I do have one question I have to look for. Correct me if I'm wrong, we paid $4,000 for an emergency repair for J.P. King on the roof. Did I see that, or am I just thought I saw it?
You know where that
That was
is?
SP1. Is it SP1? Well, I'm sorry, I thought it was J.P. King. That would make more sense than why we
Right.
Yeah,
A new roof, a new roof. I was getting concerned. Yeah, I did too.
Okay. Good evening, Madam Chair, Ms. King, other board members, Dr. Bell. I ask the board to approve the bills for payment.
Are there questions? Any other questions? I'd like to commend staff for utilizing quite a number of local vendors. Very impressed with that. So, right? Is there a motion?
Madam Chairman, I move we approve the bills for payment. Second.
It's properly moved in second that we approve bills for payment. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you,
Thank you.
Mrs. Jarrell.
Thank you, Mrs. Jarrell.
Right. Report of the superintendent.
Madam Chair, board members, at this time, we would like to call Mrs. Kim Marks forward. Mrs. Marks is, as you've already alluded to, Mrs. King, and protocol has been established. She is the CEO of, one of the CEOs of Southampton Memorial Hospital, and we have declared a partnership this year as we have initiated and implemented a wellness program in Franklin City Public Schools. Mrs. Marks?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Bell, Mrs. King, members of the school board, parents, students. It's nice to be back at Franklin City Schools. I'm an alumni. I'm a proud graduate of Franklin High School, so it's nice to be here. Nice to be a community partner with you. And so when Dr. Bell and I began discussions about how we could work together, the hospital, your local hospital, was very eager to see how we could help and form more of a relationship and a bond. So we put together a proposal based on a lot of different factors that we discussed that day. And so what you have before you is kind of what we discussed, and I'll go along with you, and you stop me if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer those. So we first talked about professional development. How can the hospital assist with your professional development sessions that you have for your staff? And what Mr. Feltz, Dr. Bell, and I talked about is we'd be able to come into the school and provide some type of health education to your teachers during your professional development. However long it might be. We started last month. We had our very first session, and we did it at SP Morton, and we brought our dietitian in, and she came and she talked to your teachers about healthy eating habits. And so we also at the time brought a team of nurses, and we came to each school, and we provided complimentary blood pressure screenings as well as the complimentary talk. Then we decided at each of your next upcoming professional development sessions, we would repeat the healthy eating topic to make sure we were able to reach out to all of your teachers. We have another session planned coming Monday, and we will repeat the session, but this time it will be at J.P. King School, and we'll also be giving flu shots. We have found out that the flu shots are covered under your health insurance plan for your teachers, and the teachers have signed up, and we'll be able to provide those at no out-of-pocket expense to your staff. So we've provided a little bit about the different type screenings that we have. We give the quadrivalent flu shot, which is a little bit broader spectrum than what you'd find in Rite Aid and Walmart. It's a hospital-grade injection. It just protects you and has another layer of protection that the normal flu vaccination wouldn't get. If you are a patient in the hospital, this is the exact same flu shot that you get. It's a great time of the year to get the flu shot, and we're really encouraging everyone to get the flu shot. We also talked about athletics. How can we be good partners for you with athletics, which is something that certainly enriches the experience for your students? We are able to provide complimentary education to coaches through one of our physicians, Dr. Frank Taylor, who has a real interest in concussion education. So we'll be working with Dr. Bell and your athletic director to bring your coaches together to make sure that they are up to date on the most frequently practiced concussion education, so we can do a good job of protecting your students. And that will be set up at a time that's mutually agreed upon. We also provide athletic sports physicals in the spring for all the students at Franklin City Schools complimentary, and we'll continue to provide that. From a human resource and employment program, we're able to provide employment physicals to your faculty as you see fit, and we're able to give you a contracted price, which is much lower than what you would get if you were just to walk in yourself to get a physical. That would include a comprehensive exam, which includes a vision, hearing, and drug screen. We'll be happy to set these up for $123 and can be done at any of our 6 employed physician practices. Many insurance companies will give you a break on your insurance rates if you provide random drug screens. We're able to also provide that service if you deem fit for a price of $21. When we've been going around, we've talked a lot about health and wellness and healthy eating habits, and we purposely did that in the months of September, October, and November, leading up to the new year, which many people have New Year's resolutions. We're happy to bring in our dietitians into your school to educate your faculty at a cost of $75 for a 5-week weight loss class. Then we're also able to provide, if they would like to continue, they can come back and we can provide 20 weeks of weight checks at $75. So it will be a total cost of $150 for 25 weeks of weight loss class. Much cheaper, provided here in the school after school at hours that are convenient. It could be voluntary. The school board could pick this cost up, or either that you could arrange for payroll deduction, and we'd work with you however you see fit. So that's another way that we can work with you to promote wellness for your faculty. We also reached out, and being a local community person myself, we want to make sure your students and your parents know what type of jobs and careers are out there post-high school. So we'd like to begin this education as early as the 6th grade to let students expose themselves to the various different health careers. We were instrumental, and we helped start the HOSA program at Franklin High School many years ago, and that's led to a wonderful graduation rate of people when they finish school. They're able to sit for their Certified Nursing Assistant program. We've been able to employ them in our East Pavilion as feeders, and it's been a win-win for our hospital as well as for their students. And so whether they want to stop their education as a CNA or they want to remain on and become a physician, this is great experience. They can come in and do this work and help put themselves through college or work in the summers and make them employable. But there are many more health careers out there other than CNAs. They're physical therapists, we have physicians, we have laboratory technicians, and many of those educations you can get right here in Franklin and Southampton County. So we have worked with Dr. Aiken from Pauldy Camp Community College, and we would like to come into your school and provide education to your parents and your students on the different types of health careers that are available for them that they can receive right here locally. We also, at the same time, would like to take our student nurses and have an education with the children and expose them to some type of health-related activity so we can provide some type of hands-on education for the children, but also provide some better education from the parents on what health careers are available here locally. So any way that we can see that we can work together with you, we have offered, whether you're in science and you're studying about the heart, and we can bring you a cardiologist, or if you're in any class that we can enhance the learning experience, we want to come into the classroom, we want to give back, and we want to be good community partners. Any questions?
Are there questions?
Any concerns?
Very impressive, and a win-win situation for our total community. I can see this spilling over into families, homes, and we have such a high incidence when it comes to many health outcomes in Western Tidewater, and I can see this as being so valuable. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. We look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you, Ms. Marks.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, board members, at this time, the memorandum of understanding has been presented under the 4 essential actions of curriculum alignment, human resources management, purpose and direction, and governance and leadership. Are there any questions at this time? As the board recalls, this document is also forwarded to our Chief Academic Officer at VDOE.
Does anyone have a question?
How is the AVID training? That just popped up. Is that going? I guess that's beginning well in the schools.
Yes, ma'am. It's beginning well. Would you like Mrs. Francis to expand or expound?
That'd be great.
Be ever so ready.
We started with our 6th grade cohort, so that's where we have one 6th grade class, and they meet every day during their specials time. They still have their specials, but they have a special class with the AVID group, and where they have their tutorology, and they are learning AVID strategies. Cornell Notes is our big drive right now, and then we're also implementing strategies throughout the rest of 6th grade, 7th, and 8th grade. So we're doing learning logs across all grade levels that the teachers are doing. That's a part of AVID. So trying to implement some of those strategies. But then also we have a speaker coming Friday. Tico Widener is coming to speak to our AVID group. And so they are, it's good, it's off the ground and running, you know. Yeah, it's taken a little bit, you know, it's just because they got to get used to the binders, you know, the binders that carry everything. Some of you that did the visit, you saw those binders. Yes.
We saw that.
You did.
Very
And so
impressive,
it's just, it's getting used to it, but they're getting there. You know, it's just something different. So, but it's going. Organization.
What about their progress?
Yes, well, you know, they went out and I look at every one of them, and so they looked very well, you know, with as far as the progress goes. And Ms. Mahoney, who's our reading specialist, and Ms. Stratton, our guidance counselor, you know, they're our big pusher there, so they're doing a lot to help also with Ms. Rollins in the classroom.
That's good.
Yep, it's getting there.
At the high school, I guess it's going all right too. Did he leave?
He walked the kids and the parents out. But that's going well as well.
It is.
Mrs. Riddick.
It's a ninth grade class,
Ninth grade,
correct?
that's
Yes.
correct, that's correct. And all is well. Well, no, this is a different training. I was gonna think about, it was a different training, but Mrs. Rollins attended a training, last week, at Lansdowne, last week. Right.
We formed a partnership with them.
That's correct.
They're
So-
kind of mentoring because they've already had it.
Their school-wide ad, and then school-wide ad, I believe, Mr. Edwards said 7 years.
Yeah, for a while now.
They've been,
Yeah. So we're steady visiting other schools,
Right.
learning, and the teachers get a chance to bounce things off each other.
I'm just impressed, I'd like to say, you know, in reference to the implementation of the program, especially for organization. Those skills that they will learn, putting those binders together, will be able to carry on. Life skills. Yeah.
And when we attended the class last Friday, it was as though they had been there forever. I mean, everybody was seated into working and then thinking of AVID as being a new program. I guess you would have expected, you know, maybe people falling all over, but it was so organized, so very
I
organized.
think that, you know, the team and everybody, all the teachers, that was really, you know, kind of, you know, embraced it, and they're pushing it just well, and I think that's a huge difference.
Any other question or comment? Right? So the next item.
All right. Madam Chair, board members, we have members of Catapult with us tonight, and they will come forward to present the dashboard for J.P. King and S.P. Morton. You have the presentations at your stations, and you also have not only the presentation, but you also have the strategic exit plan for your purview.
So good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to be with you. I just want to say, you know, watching the high school students, you know, both Deborah and I were just over there beaming because we knew one of the students from the middle school. So it's like, oh, that's one of our babies from the middle school. So, you know, we really feel like part of the family, and we would just really appreciate you all just letting us be a part of that. And so thank you so much, and we're so proud of our students. So just starting off with our dashboard this evening, under the page 2, the 7th grade advanced class has been reinstated for math, and so that curriculum was written the first year that I got here. So I just made sure that the administration, the new 7th grade teacher, and the math coach all received that curriculum through email, and I sat and planned the first 9 weeks out with the teacher also so that she can be ready and on pace, and so she's received everything she needs. And so that's the first bullet that you see. The second bullet, the math coaches and the math specialists of the district, we all attended 2 conferences, math conferences. One was for the Virginia Council of Math Specialists, and the other one was the Virginia Association of School Superintendents Conference. That was Dan Mulligan presented at that one. And the other one, were a lot of presenters, but they all gave great information to develop our coaching skills, and all of the resources that Dan Mulligan presented was given to the teachers, so every math teacher has those resources. Okay. We have been, Deborah and I, extensively working with the new teachers to the school at S.P. Morton, and those new to grade level. So you might have had a teacher that previously was working with 4th grade and now they're 1st grade. And so just to make sure that they can get their feet on the ground and start running and, you know, understand their pacing, but we've been really pushing in and working with them very heavily. And Deborah.
Yeah, this year, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
This year, our focus at the elementary school is our balanced literacy, where we have our writing, our reading, and our word study. All teachers have been trained in word study, so word study is effective through kindergarten through 5th grade. All classes are involved in completing word study activities daily with their students, and this will help students not only in the spelling and vocabulary, but also in writing, and all of that is a push so that by the time they get to the middle school and they're ready for writing, they will be in a better position and grow stronger each year. And then from there, we're also looking at other ways we can influence that word study piece to go into our reading piece and across the content. How can we improve that?
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
Did we have word study before? Were they using this strategy?
Word study
Okay.
before, but word study was not a school-wide goal. Word study was used in kindergarten through 2nd grade. We implemented it all the way through 5th grade because we wanted consistent, balanced literacy throughout the entire school.
Thank you so much. Impressive.
All right. On page 3, when we're talking about what strategies we use to help our students learn, Dr. Porter delivered guide activities to all schools through email for professional development to just reinforce the strategies that each school chose. If you remember when he first delivered his presentation on helping our young black males learn and what strategies we can use, and each school with their principal chose at least 3 strategies that they would implement and really push in and try to do in classrooms. And so Dr. Porter made these guides for professional development on September 21st. And so that's what we used to make sure that we just, focused on them and considered our next steps and just seeing how it was going so far. Okay? The strategies I also put in bullet 1 just to revisit them so that you know what J.P. King and S.P. Morton chose. The strategic exit plan that you requested last month, I gave you all a copy of that also. Deborah and I wrote that strategic exit plan along with the reading specialist and the math coach. That plan was shared with school administration and by email and through debriefing, and it covers the 5 areas: the written curriculum, instructed, assessed curriculum, professional development, and communication. So those areas all had goal statements written so that there was a strong focus on what we needed to do to carry on. Okay.
Would you maybe add this to your presentation for next month to give the board an opportunity to come back? And maybe if you have questions relative to this, since we've just gotten it.
Yes, ma'am.
Then we will be able to maybe address them there.
Yes, ma'am.
At the next month meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Deborah, created a gallery walk for S.P. Morton. And so what happened was K2 teachers were in a cohort and 3-5 teachers were in a cohort, and they toured the school in these 2 groups. But specific teachers were chosen as exemplars for certain skills that they portrayed during the school year. So some had really strong organizational skills. Some had really strong interactive word walls. And so we chose specific teachers that really stood out for those skills, and they stayed in their classrooms. And so the groups of teachers walked around the school, and when they came to the classrooms, those teachers would explain how they did it and some strategies that the other teachers could use immediately in their classroom to implement those same things. And so that was really successful, and that was a good day.
That's interesting.
We also helped out with the new teachers, especially because we have at least 4 new teachers on 2nd grade. Is it 4? Yeah. So helping them establish their routines and procedures with the students and what are some good ways to start them off strong. And so that's what we help with them. And then lastly, we work with the reading specialist and the math coach to make sure that we had anchor charts that were across grade levels, bringing that consistency back that Deborah was speaking about, so that they all have them in their classrooms. So for example, when we're talking about solving word problems, that same strategy is used from kindergarten through 5th grade, so that when they matriculate through, there's not any gaps and, well, that's not how Ms. King did it, we won't hear that. So that's what we were making sure of. Deborah?
In our curriculum pacing guides, we have project-based learning for grades K through 5. All teachers have been trained with project-based learning. In other words, the students are going to complete a project at the end of the 9 weeks that will demonstrate their understanding of the skills taught during those 9 weeks. So all teachers have been trained on how to go about the project. We've discussed every project with every grade level. We've gotten all the supplies we need for these projects. So these projects, students will begin them the end of next week. They will start working on these projects, and by the time we get to the end of the 9 weeks, many of these projects will be on display in the hallways and in the classrooms. So we're real excited about that, and we're hoping that perhaps we can put some of these on display at an upcoming PTA meeting for parents to see. So this is very exciting because this is the application part of our student learning. Because many times students learn information. How do we know they learn it? They demonstrate it on tests all the time. But let's look at another way that they can demonstrate their learning through a project. And that really shows us that they can apply what they actually know. The next thing we talked about was quick writes. Last year we talked about ways in which we can get students to write more and to improve in their writing. Every student in the school actually is a part of quick writes. Every student writes every single day. All students have journals. Teachers are collecting the journals, and they're looking at a writing every single week, and it's graded according to a rubric. And this is ongoing for the entire school year. And even if when you pick up a student's journal from the first day of school and look at where that journal looks now, you can see a big difference in the students' writing. You look at kindergarten when they first start and where they are now, you can see that growth. Okay, and students are really into their journals, and they want you to pick them up and read them, and it's becoming second nature for them. I know I'm behind. Yeah. Okay. We also we worked with, after doing the quick writes, we also did our baseline prompt for the school year. We will be able to show you the growth of students when they take the second writing prompt. We have 3 school-wide writing prompts we're doing throughout the school year. The baseline lets us know where are the students right now. Then when we show data after the second writing prompt, we can show you where they started and where they're growing, how much they've grown. So that's coming in the future, but teachers have graded all of those prompts using a rubric, and they've gotten that information into me, and we'll use that as the baseline, because that's just what that is, to show our growth when we do our second one. So we have another one in January and another one in the spring. All of this is a way to improve writing across all grade levels. Okay. The next thing we talked about was getting students ready for checking for understanding. How do we know what our students know? How are we going to make sure that those students learn? And then what are we going to do if they're not learning? So in math, they created pre-tests and post-tests, so we know what the students already know before we start the content, and then we give them a post-test to see how much they have learned. It's a way of monitoring that process. With reading, we've had the PALS testing. We also had MAPS testing. We did the DSA testing, which was a part of the DSA was a part of the spelling inventory for grades 4 through 5 that also help us with our word study. So those pieces have been our part of our pre-testing to get the baseline data for our reading. Okay. That's it. We've been very busy. I can't keep up with the screen. I'm sorry. But we've been very busy at the elementary school. We have several things we put in place this year that have gone very well. The quick writes have been awesome to see the students writing every single day, and they expect to write. Now they walk in, pick up their journals, and get started right away. The word study, which is part of our balanced literacy, that has taken off, and we're very proud of that. And our reading instruction with small groups. So our balanced literacy is really on the way. So thank you so much. Any questions?
I really like that journal concept. Do they actually have a journal book, or is it just a?
It's a journal. It's that composition book, the black and white, and now they're green and yellow and all the different colors. But yes, every child has his or her own book.
That's really nice. Any other question?
Do you tell them what to write, or do they write whatever?
Each class created what we call an expert list, because the first thing students say, I don't know what to write about today. So before we even started the journal, on day one of school, we talked about expert lists. What are some topics we can write about? So every teacher did an expert list in the classroom. When you may not have noticed it when you were there, but in every classroom there's a chart that says expert lists. And there are all kinds of topics up there. So if a child walks in and it's a day that you can choose your topic to write, and the child says, well, I don't know what to write about, look at our expert list. They select a topic, go straight to work. Other days, the teacher will give the students a topic to write about, but at least 2 days a week, we give them the opportunity to select a topic to write. And that's worked very well.
And their expert lists were things like Army men, the children gave the teacher what to write. So some said Army men, some said snow, some
Yeah.
whatever they said. They wrote it up, and so that day they look at their list that they wrote, and so they're invested. And so that's what they write about.
I just want to say thank you. This is just wonderful to hear it. And that word study, I'm telling you, with vocabulary, it's really helping with their vocabulary
Yes.
development. Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Is there any correlation between math and reading ever when it comes to word problems? There's such a big emphasis on word problems in math. So where is there a connection between reading and math?
Well, even, go ahead.
I work with the math teachers on literacy in math, and so we have writing prompts for mathematics.
Good.
And we have a professional development session coming up on the 29th for literacy in mathematics.
Good.
To give the teachers more strategies in math class for that, since this is Literacy Month. So, yes ma'am, we do.
Terrific.
And especially when we talk about like the 4th and 5th grade teachers, well, 5th especially, because we have 4 different content area teachers in 5th grade. The science teacher's prompt may be something on science. The social studies teacher's prompt will be something about social studies. So we're crossing the
Good,
content
good.
areas.
Wonderful.
And benchmark testing, is that coming up? That seems like it's.
First week of
it's
November.
Like 9 weeks.
First week of
They're
November.
just doing it every 9 weeks now, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You know, we still have some checkpoints.
Well, yeah,
Some
you
schools
got-
have their 2 weeks to do it. Matter of fact, Mr. Chandler, yours is every 2 weeks, I believe, correct, or every week?
Yeah, it depends on what, at the end of every week, we usually have some
Little-
sort of
little-
summative assessment.
little check.
Formatively assess every.
Just a short little
Yeah,
something.
little check,
Yes.
yeah.
Right, I got
Yeah.
that, but the
But the
9
weeks,
weeks
yes.
benchmarks, it's just, because it seems like last year we had started doing it every, like, 4.5 weeks. And then
Yeah, we kind of switched up.
yeah.
Okay.
And I did have one other comment. I heard you say the students are vested. And I think that that's key, that when we're able to teach our students so that they understand why it is that they need to partake and have a part, and that this was my idea.
That's right. And
Yeah,
it goes back
I
to
like
student data tracking sheets, when they're tracking their own data on the checkpoints that we have weekly. They're graphing, you know, my
Yes.
pre-test, I got a 30%, and I really want to work to a 70%, so they're owning their
That
own
math
data.
skill too.
Stimulates interest. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Let Dr. Porter know that we missed him.
I will tell them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr.
That
Bell.
concludes the superintendent's report, Madam Chair and board
Professional,
members. Now we're on student liaison.
Okay. Who do the professional development?
It should be student
Should-
liaison.
Okay. Oh, that's okay.
Good evening. I'll be talking about the student involvement in school activities. SP Morton Elementary School will be having family math night tonight at Food Lion from 6 to 8. Students will be participating in the grocery store classroom activities for a unique learning experience. There will also be a parent-teacher association meeting, along with family reading night held on Tuesday, October 20th. J.P. King Middle School participated in the Rawls Art Museum Education Outreach Program on Tuesday, October 13th. Franklin High School students participated in the blood drive held on October 7th, and on Monday, October 12th, FHS Student Council Association candidates delivered their speeches to the entire school, who then voted by grade level for who they wanted to represent them. On September 30th, DECA students went to the State Fair and watched the marketing competition. The AVID and Opportunity Inc. students attended the ECPI Manufacturing Career Day in Virginia Beach. Students are currently fundraising for the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Awareness Fund. And there will be a car wash this Saturday at Sunoco hosted by SCA to raise money for homecoming. The only concern that I would like to report is a concern for FHS students, for example, seniors that are now trying to apply to colleges and scholarships. We don't have much help from counselors and teachers. I'm just proposing that maybe we start in 11th grade writing essays, practicing for college essays, because now we're kind of getting stressed and confused because we're not getting much help inside school, and it's a lot for us to do, and sometimes we just need a little more in school. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm sure that Dr. Watson heard that concern, and you own it. I know that you are. So that's good that you brought that
Yeah,
to
it would be great if
to
they could write an
attention.
essay in the 11th grade in
Wonderful.
English.
Mhm. Terrific.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so very much. Right? So professional development, is that you? Okay. Is that,
Madam Chair, board members, you have the professional development law that has been presented. Any questions or concerns with the professional development law?
Is there anyone? Questions, comments? Professional development. We have really been on the road, and it's really great, and I'm impressed with the division-wide participation in professional development, Dr. Bell. It's no longer just maybe at the central office where people go and maybe get trained on things. It seems as though we have teachers and quite a number of people across the division involved in professional development, and that enhances what is brought back to the system in the buildings. This is terrific. All right, thank you so very much. Principals, monthly report.
Madam Chair, board members, you have the principal's monthly report. Are there any questions at this time on the monthly report?
Any questions or comments, anyone, with the principal's monthly report?
Sure by now, the owner is trying to settle down, we're gonna be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We will submit that, that annual submission next week. I think it's due on the 20th, I believe.
All right. I just had one question about SP Morton, and I guess, in looking at that, and I could be wrong, but I looked at the withdrawals, the total number of withdrawals, and that seemed to have been, where did I see that? Yes. I don't know where I looked at that on mine. Is it, yeah, all W's. I think it has been corrected then. Yes. All right, no problem. It was a total of, 35 thus far? for SP Morton, and I suppose it, okay, that's good. And we didn't have any re-entries there at that school.
Is the withdrawals there like kids that had signed up and they didn't show up the first day of school, or are they actually with some of them?
I mean, I think that we've had some students that have, obviously moved away. And then some that were categorized as no-shows until they were withdrawn or they populated another school system.
And I suppose that would have been my question, because do we count them before they enroll as withdrawals? So then, that's what I'm saying, and I looked at that, so they can't be counted as withdrawals, even if they didn't show up. They can't.
Until they're withdrawn.
Until they enroll. They have to enroll first, yes.
I mean, we don't withdraw them until we find where they've gone. Because
Where
if
they-
not, then they count it as a drop.
Right, yes. So, and I guess that was what raised it, had, anyway. All right, I'm good. All right. The next item then on our agenda, the monthly financial report.
Madam Chair, board members, Mr. Jarrell will come forward with to discuss the monthly financial report.
Good evening again, Madam Chair, Dr. Bell, other board members. Are there any questions regards to the monthly report?
Board members, you notice on the front, oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Phillips.
No.
On page one, we have broken down our funds, so you can see the percentage where we are. That's another thing that we wanted to add to make sure we could see our percent used. And right now, you see the grand total at 18.3 for 3 months. So everything is looking pretty good.
That's what I was saying.
Yes, ma'am.
Was everything looking pretty good?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And then your last page, turn your attention to the last page where Mrs. Jarrell has added in the remaining balance on the QZAP. So we could actually see what the remaining balance is in that last figure on the right side at $501,000. Everyone see that? That's the very last page. So that's the QZAP.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was part of that technology project. And then also you see where we have put in, and we'll come back later for the approval of we just wanted to put a copy of the federal carryover budget amendment.
Right.
That's listed, as well as the attached Title I documents that, funds that we started last year. So everyone can see the Title I funds. And as soon as the approval and we submit that to City Council, those negatives will then be removed. They will be removed. Because they will go into appropriations column.
Right.
Any other questions or comments from the board members? QZAP, and looking at that, Dr. Bell, and I can't get to my page. Okay, let me see. It's not there. I have it now. I have it now, thank you. And looking at that, Dr. Bell, every time we pull down on expenditures, then we get the balance over in that far right-hand corner. So we have expended everything out of that 1.8, let's say, $1 million, except $501,356.
Yes, ma'am.
That is wonderful.
Yes.
Terrific. And right across the top, we have noted all of those things for which we will be making purchases. In that column, the horizontal column at the top, like,
Project.
yes, the
Yes.
projects. So we have, the greenhouse hasn't been done yet, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Has that been done?
Yes, ma'am.
So did we expend any money? That's not,
We just basically cleaned it up for right now.
all right, we cleaned it up. So we had the greenhouse at the high school,
Yes,
didn't we?
ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
And the stage curtains,
The stage curtains, we had purchased the curtains, however, when the company, when we received them, they were the wrong curtains. So we had to send them back. So we are still in negotiations with them on the curtains.
How about the teacher computers?
yes,
That's a-
right, that's one of the things too.
That
When-
was part of the technology. All that was one big project, but we kind of spaced it out where we had teacher computers, the laptops for the kids, audio enhanced. A lot of those items
They just
kinda
got
broken
put
up.
all in the same
Right.
bundle.
So have we maybe supplied all teachers with computers as was intended?
We still have, we just received 300 laptops probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and neither you all or Josh, those are imaging those, so we'll be getting those out as soon as possible.
Okay, so we have them, the
Well, we
teachers
have-
just don't have them.
Right.
I got you.
And the Promethean boards, do we have those in all classrooms?
Yeah, we have them in all classrooms, and we have the audio enhanced and video capability in our SOL areas.
Okay, so my question, so the teachers will all have an individual laptop?
We're trying to make sure everybody
Okay.
has their own laptop, yes, ma'am.
And I was very impressed with the walkthrough last week of the audio in the classroom. So no one has to complain, I can't hear. That's very good.
To just go back to what Ms. Jackson said, I don't know what the cost is per classroom for that.
We can break it out, I can bring that back.
I'm gonna tell you, that, if you haven't seen it, that's amazing. That is amazing. If we need this in every classroom, just not our core groups, that needs to be in every class we have. If we don't do the one class a year, we need to find money somewhere to have that done.
You are
Especially
correct.
if it improves student achievement.
Yes.
Yes, I believe it would.
Confidence, motivation. We've done extraordinarily well. When did we enact the QZAP expenditures? That was like after December, was it not?
I'm getting old, Ms. King.
I think that it was after
When did we
December,
start?
but this is
Did we start
wonderful.
last year sometime?
Yes,
December?
after
Yeah,
December. This is terrific, and I mean, the accounting process for this is great because you can just look at it and see, what we purchased and where we are. And I suppose as we look at it, spending that $501,000, then you have room there to go back and look at
Yes, ma'am.
enhancement.
Yes, ma'am.
Terrific.
We will have approximately $125,000 from the roof project, Charles Street Gym. And we
Yes.
may have to reallocate it somewhere else,
Or we might not get to do that?
because
Well,
we couldn't know
I
if it has,
understood
right,
that,
after,
but-
right, after the architects give us what they see, if we have to change the structure, then we probably can't do that. We probably can't do anything to the roof.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. They'd rather the building get totally destroyed than fix the roof if you have to change the structure? That just makes no sense.
Well, I don't believe.
You know what I'm trying to say?
But I think that what we're saying here is that there is a group in the community
Yes, ma'am.
trying to get that building on the historic
and
register.
I'm cool with
And
that.
if you get it on the historic register, then you cannot change the external
some limits.
appearance of that building. Can't do anything. There are limitations on doing it. And I would love to see that building on the historic register. I mean, it's a nice building, something. I look at it and it's appealing. But I think, Mrs. Godwin, your question concern might be good, but I think if we just wait, because how long do we have to maybe expend the money?
Well, we have 3 years.
See, 3 years.
No, I guess my thing is, if the architects come back and say, well, there's no way to repair this roof, because we can't change the exterior of the building, and it's not worth repairing the roof if you don't, then the whole building will just collapse. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. I don't know if the entire building will collapse, but there are various designations to the historical.
Yeah.
So it may, as I was talking to Mr. Parker, it may be that the designation that they are seeking, we may be able to fix the structure, because there are various designations that they're trying to place on that building.
Right.
But we'll just be patient and wait
Yes.
until we hear from them
Yeah, I guess we just
before we move forward, because we
Right.
still have time.
Me too. Yes, right?
Since we have 3 years, we should probably
Yes,
keep a
I
little
mean,
bit of the
that's
money aside, just in
yeah.
case we need to fix it.
Just in
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
All right, any other question, concern? This does not require a motion. Okay. Right, thank you so much, Ms. Jarrell. And I think that we talked about a budget, the annual budget, a cumulative budget for the year. And did we not get that in a booklet form, Dr. Bell, prior? I think we
Yeah,
got a
we
booklet.
did before.
Yes, a little bound booklet with that in it. So if you don't mind bringing that back to us and maybe next month.
Yes, ma'am. And we have to put that on the annual report on the website, and we can also put that one on the website as well.
Good.
You know, we said that we would be transparent in that. So we'll put both of those on the website.
That's good. All right. Thank you so very much. All right. Next item on the agenda, unfinished business, and we have a second reading of the, and final approval, VRS hybrid plans resolution. Will Mrs. Wade be handling those, or?
No, ma'am, I can handle that.
Okay, all right.
Madam Chair, board members, we have a resolution not to allow eligible employees to direct hybrid voluntary contributions to an employer-sponsored hybrid 403B retirement plan. And the reason that we are seeking the board to not go with this resolution, our employees, they have 4% of their monies that come out of their checks each month. We match two more percent for VRS, so we have about 6%. Under this resolution, if an employee, one of our employees, decided wanted to contribute more to this hybrid plan, that would require us to have an investment broker to follow their investments, to give them advice when their investment is dropping so they can move it somewhere else. So to sum it up, we would have to have somebody each day just to watch those persons' investment. We don't have the manpower for that. We don't have that. Now, they do have the option to still increase their investment if they would like. And if they do that, their contribution, VRS will then monitor that. So by us saying no, we are then saying if any employee wants to increase their retirement, they can. However, VRS will be the broker, not us.
It's quite clear. Any questions? All right. So, any discussion, questions? This is a second reading. What is the action of the board? A motion to adopt or a motion not to adopt?
Madam Chair, I move that we not adopt.
To adopt the VRS hybrid plan resolution. You want to adopt the resolution? Yes, as presented. Yes. You want to adopt
As presented.
and I'm not putting words in your mouth. Is that what you want?
That's what I was reading. It said not to allow.
Not to allow.
You're right. You want to adopt the plan?
The resolution.
Yes,
As
okay,
presented.
right. Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. It's been properly moved in second that we adopt the VRS hybrid plan resolution. You've heard the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. Right? Thank you. Second reading, final approved policy revision, policy DLCR, administrative regulation regarding travel.
Ms. Wade.
You have before you for second reading tonight, policy DLCR, entitled Administrative Regulation Regarding Travel. The additions or changes to the policy are underlined for you, and this we're asking for your approval tonight.
All right. Any questions? Comments? All right. If you have no questions or comments, a motion to approve or disapprove in order.
Madam Chair, I would like to approve the administration regulation regarding the travel.
Second.
It's properly moved in second that we approve the second reading of policy DLC-R, administrative regulation regarding travel. You've heard the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. Okay, second reading, final approval policy revision, policy DL-R, payroll revisions.
Yes, ma'am. For the policy DL payroll procedures, we are, for second reading tonight, presenting to you a regulation to go with our policy on payroll procedures. Basically, this makes it mandatory for all employees to go with direct deposit, and that would be effective December 1st, 2015. That's why the whole entire regulation is underlined, because it's new. We don't currently have that regulation, so this would be a regulation that is new to our policy and policy manual.
Madam Chair, board members, I would like to enlighten the board. We have done the research, and we have had two affiliates come in, BB&T and SunTrust, as we looked at helping our employees. We have 29 employees who presently received a paper check. We had this discussion with those employees last year that we would be moving into the 21st century. So we worked with them last year, and also we worked with them at the beginning of the year. We brought in BB&T, and BB&T would work with those employees that would want to accept a check card versus creating their own checking account. The check card would be free, no charge. SunTrust would charge $3 a card, but BB&T would not charge our employees any amount for using the check.
No monthly fee.
No monthly fees, no. Only if they went beyond 325 transactions. And I don't foresee that, you know. But it's free to them, the card. What it also does, it eliminates our finance department having to come in during a holiday to mail checks to those employees who are not on direct deposit, as well as having to wait for those who don't want it mailed but want to pick it up. So they enjoy their holiday just like we do. So that was one of the reasons why we want to move to this. It's no cost. I mean, it's not if they are continuing on the check versus direct deposit, is no cost. You know, that's not the issue. That's not a concern. The biggest concern is that we are having employees coming in and they can't enjoy their full holiday because we have to come in and somebody has to mail it, as well as wait for persons to come pick it up. And it's just an easier process across the board if we have everybody on direct deposit.
Dr. Bell, I'm just curious, have you surveyed the 29 to find out their reason why they would prefer to keep the paper check? I'm just curious.
Just want to have it in the hands.
Oh, okay.
I would pick on one in the audience right now.
Don't do that.
No set reason. That's it. I just want to have it in my hands.
We still have people who think that the stock market might crash. Bank institutions might close. Banking institutions, so. But anyway, so I mean, we don't have people with a lot of opposition. You've talked to these 29 people.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Okay. All right. Is there any other question, any other discussion? All right.
So they get to keep the card, but it's magically reloaded every pay period.
Every pay period. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam Chair and board members, I make a motion to approve file DLR for payroll procedures.
Second.
It's properly moved in second that we approve the policy DLR for payroll, regarding payroll revisions. You've heard the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Ms. Wade.
The first reading, student dress code uniform policy, JFCAA.
Before we move to that, Madam Chair, I had Mrs. Kendrick put in for the second reading and final approval of the crisis plan. You know, the board was just waiting to make sure that we had secured those signatures, and those signatures have been secured. Mrs. Kendrick, do you remember the page? 9? On page 9, those approval statements that we were waiting. So now we have all the signatures, and you notice that Mr. White and I have signed in 2 places. So if one person is not here and we have a crisis, then the other person is more familiar with, is still familiar with the document.
Good. And this requires our approval. This was presented earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
We saw the plan, we read through it, went through it. We didn't get the health district, so I suppose that will come later. No signature there for the health district.
Oh, well, that's not one of the, that's not really a signature that's needed.
Okay, all right.
That's something else.
All right, good. Okay.
That's
Put-
if you're in a big city like Richmond.
Right.
Yeah,
Different
very
districts, yeah.
different
Just in one district.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the second reading of the 2015-16 emergency response plan.
A second?
It's properly moved in second that we approve the emergency response plan for 2015-16. You've heard the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Motion is carried. All right. Now back to the student dress code.
Sorry.
That's okay, fine.
Ms. Wade?
Okay, presented tonight for your first reading is file JFCAA entitled Student Dress and Grooming. This is a policy that also contains a regulation, file JFCAAR, that is our Franklin City Public Schools dress code. Franklin High School has had a dress code. It's printed in their student handbook. J.P. King and S.P. Morton have a uniform policy, and it's printed in their student handbook. But we didn't have that as part of the school board policy manual. And so we have created a policy that brings all of that together. The regulation is actually the uniform policy that's being used by J.P. King and S.P. Morton. And I will call your attention to the uniform policy. We have added a black shirt as acceptable as part of the student uniform, and also for outerwear, a black coat as acceptable for the uniform. But other than that, it is the uniform policy or the uniform procedure that this board approved at the time it was put in place, but it was never included or put as a part of the school board policy manual. So we felt like it should be there. Student dress should be a part of our manual, and the uniform policy should be a part of our school board policy manual. So this is for your reading. There's nothing new. It's just presented to you as a policy.
And I suppose, and I questioned that when I was reading this, has there been discussion with the building principals to ensure that their regulations in their schools don't supersede what we have here?
Yes, I have actually pulled their student handbooks and have gone through it very carefully to make sure, and Dr. Bell and I have together, to make sure that it is the same dress code that like Franklin High School is using, and then we pull the uniform policy that's in place at both the middle and elementary. Except that we've added black shirts and black coats.
And I always do question that, and I think that some building principal, one of the principals explained to me why, but I didn't ever understand the need to regulate the color of the coats. I guess I'm insane. I always thought about all of the agencies out there that give coats to children in the winter, and some children get just one coat. What kind of dilemma does that create? Because we don't tell, I know the Rotary Club, I think, sometimes sponsor drives for coats. And I just question, what do we say to them? Do we say, give the child a black coat, blue coat, whatever?
They can wear.
If you would come forward, Mrs. Francis.
Yeah, real quick, they can wear their coats any color to school. They, any of those colors, because we don't limit that. It's just when they cross the threshold into the building, now that we have all this great HVAC, the heating and the air, it's all nice and cozy, they just have to take their coats off. The reason for the black is because, Mr. Parker and I both, we talked about it to an extent, because it's hard to find a navy blue, lightweight jacket. There's a lot of just the black, like the North Face or the Columbia, and even in Walmart, if you look, it's really hard to find a navy blue, just a lightweight jacket, or sweater. But they're starting to wear, like the girls are starting to wear the cardigan sweaters underneath. They can do white, blue, or black, and so or yellow. But we've never really run into that. I don't know if you can talk to Mr. Chandler about the elementary, but that's never ever been an issue. They wear the coats, get off the bus, have the coats as soon as they hit the threshold. If it's neon, rainbow, bright, type color, they just take it off.
They just can't wear them inside the building. They can wear them to school. They can wear them to recess. They just can't wear them inside the building.
So despite color, so color is not an issue?
Outside the building,
Outside. Okay.
on the bus, to
Okay.
school.
All right.
On
Well,
page 2, 19, no hats, caps, scarves, head coverings. I saw a student at the high school last year that was wearing a headscarf for religious reasons. How are we going to deal with that?
I believe that's addressed in the policy itself. The last paragraph on the second page, it says exceptions to the content of this policy shall not be made unless compliance is in conflict with valid religious beliefs and practices.
Can't control that. No, you
Right.
can't control that.
Thank you.
And Ms. Wade, with the
Yes.
recent news of a child coming to school with a gun on his T-shirt and, all the conversation that has gone on about that with the parents. How are we addressing this issue? I mean, what kind of language in this policy are we addressing the issue of wearing a T-shirt with weapon on it?
If you look at
Clothing that detracts from the learning
Yeah.
process.
those first 7 bullets,
That's a vulgar or
Yeah, display,
offensive.
Vulgar, yeah. The first bullets.
Right.
Affiliation with any gang or criminal activity. Anything that would disrupt the learning environment. So, you know, that could encompass a lot of different
Right.
things.
And the sweatshirts, no sweatshirts. No
No
hoodies, yeah.
In any of the three schools?
Right. So that can
Right.
be addressed.
That's correct. No sweatshirts or hoodies.
Right.
No sweatshirts or no sweatshirts and hoodies?
No sweatshirts or hoodies are to be worn during the school day.
No sweatshirt.
That's what I'm
This
trying
is
to
part
hear.
of the dress, I mean,
It says
excuse
no
me, the uniform
sweatshirts or
policy.
hoodies.
They can't wear a sweatshirt?
As part of the, as an outerwear, like a sweatshirt, hoodie, like a coat,
A hoodie.
outerwear, a hoodie,
Okay,
A
that's
sweatshirt.
sweatshirt with a hood
Hoodie,
on it, but they can
yes.
wear just a sweatshirt.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, that was my question.
So,
Correct?
yeah.
Yeah, are
So
we saying no
this then,
sweatshirts or no
this
sweatshirts?
requires some type of revision there, no doubt, because it reads no sweatshirts or hoodies.
What number? Are you?
It's under outerwear.
That's what I'm trying to get that clear.
With the bullets. Outerwear with
It
the.
does say no
No
sweatshirts or
sweatshirt
hoodies.
They wear a
hoodies.
sweatshirt. With no hood.
So,
Okay.
so,
Because they wear sweatshirts, I've seen them. I've seen the kids wearing sweatshirts.
Yeah, I was gonna say my kids.
Should
wear
be no
sweatshirts.
sweatshirt with hoodies.
Yeah.
With hoodies.
So
Okay.
you
I
want,
need to correct
yes,
that, yeah. That's why I said no
Okay.
sweatshirts.
Yeah, this is first reading.
Yeah.
So it's a good discussion to
Yes,
have
it
because
is.
it's first
Yeah.
reading.
That's why I want to make sure that was
Right.
clear. Is it no sweatshirts or no sweatshirts with hoodies?
With hoodies.
With hoodies, yes. I thought so.
Any other question or comment? Because this would enable us to go in and adopt when it comes back as the second reading.
and as the board members read through it, if you have anything that you see, just email us.
I
and we
did
can-
have one thing about the sports.
About what?
Sports.
Sports.
I mean, it's like shorts, but I'd rather them wear a sport than a mini skirt, personally. They can wear them at the middle school and the elementary. I don't know what the big deal about sport is. I love sport.
Like a brown belt. So what's your
I
question,
mean,
Nancy?
well, I think a skirt and a pair of shirts are the exact same thing. Why can't they wear a skirt?
Because the skirt has the shorts up under.
They're not allowed at the high school, but they are allowed as
But
part
they
of the
can wear
uniform
shorts.
policy.
They
Oh,
can wear
yeah.
shorts to the high school, but they can't wear a skirt? I mean, that just is silly to me. Maybe it's just me.
Does it say they can wear shorts?
Yeah, they can wear shorts.
As long as it's 1 inch above the knee.
Well, then the skirt should be one inch above the knee.
A skirt can be 1 inch above the knee.
So do you have that in here for the?
It's, at
skort.
the high school, it says no skirts
Okay.
currently.
All right.
Do we know the reason why before we?
As we go to the historian,
Mr.
is
Phelps?
there ever a reason, Mr. Phelps, with
About
that?
the skirts.
Yes.
You the historian.
If I remember correctly, this has 29 parts to it for the high school. I cannot sit here and tell you why skirts are not allowed, but I can tell you in practice what we did was it could not be more than 1 inch higher than the knee, whether it was a skirt, shorts,
That's a good thing.
and help me remember what skirts are. I know I don't wear them, but it's like shorts. It looks like a skirt, right? It's a combination of a skirt and shorts. Okay. Okay. In practice, what we did was you can't have them higher than 1 inch above the knee. We did not do the fingertip rule. We did it couldn't be higher than 1 inch.
That's good.
So I know number 4 is in there, but in practice, it was the inch rule.
So we want to correct that to include scorts.
Yeah, that's what y'all want.
So we could say,
There's some,
short
I've seen some
and
that
skort,
but I've seen
maybe
some that come
one,
down
1
to the
inch
knee.
above the knee.
Make it the same.
Yeah, shorts and skorts.
Yes, keep it the same.
And skirts.
Yeah, keep it the same. Yeah, and skirts.
Must be,
Right.
so allow all 3 1 inch above the knee.
That's it, that's it, and it's
Got it?
easier to manage.
Because you know they have some in the uniform. The uniforms come to the knee.
Now, what about black or brown belts for skirts and shorts? Black or brown belts? Why are we specifying color there?
That's not a high school.
Yeah,
That's
uniform.
That's in the uniform.
Okay, all right.
Uniform
all
policy. Yeah, we need to keep that.
All right.
Keep that.
All right. Okay, that's it. Any other questions, anyone?
And Ms. Wade,
yes.
I noticed on number 25 here, beginning with the sundresses down to number 25, it does address
Weapons.
clothing with weapons and, yeah.
Yes.
So we are covering that.
Very
For the
good.
high school, it's very specific.
It is. Right. Very good. So we will look forward to your getting that
So I have
uploaded
those
with
two.
revision.
I have those 2 things to revise. And as Dr. Bell mentioned, if you all read and think about it some more, please email Dr. Bell or I, with anything else that you feel strongly about. And we'll look to bring that back to you next month for second reading.
Great, thank you. All right. Surplus items request.
Madam Chair, board members, we have a request for the following items to be placed in surplus. You see the list, and I think it's one more that we need that we added on. I can't see that, Ms. Candy. What's that last?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, Cali
Color image runner copier.
Yes, ma'am.
You can
I'm getting old. So that's what we wanted to add to that list for surplus. Goes up for an auction, yes, yes. Because most of these items are above $100. So a couple of these are going to probably run $200 or $300.
And these are just extra things.
Extra things that we don't, we have upgraded, and now we are more energy efficient with a lot of these items, so
That's
we're
good.
not using these.
So you would do an ad in the local newspaper relative to the auction?
Yeah, Mr.
Wonderful.
Custer will take care of all that.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Just we need your permission to put those on our surplus item.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the request to classify items as surplus.
Second?
It's properly moved and a second that we approve the classified items as surplus. Is there, what is your pleasure? A motion. The motion was,
made the motion.
I know, I said motion and then the second, so what is your vote? How do you vote? Aye. Okay. Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. Okay. Federal carryover budget amendment, that's okay, we do this well.
Madam Chair, board members, we have seen this list before. It was in our monthly financial, but we are asking permission to carry over the federal appropriation balances in the following amounts. And we have discussed that once we receive this approval and submit it to Mr. Martin, then those negatives we saw would then be removed.
Does the federal fiscal year have anything to do with this?
No. See, that is, it when they appropriate monies, it runs a little funny. For instance, if this school year, we still had basically 2 years prior to spending, like 13, 14, 14, 15. But you gotta spend 13, 14 by a particular date. Then you gotta spend 14, 15 by a particular date. So it's almost 3 years that you're running with Title I money.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And then people can write grants, because the federal government might come out tomorrow and advertise an opportunity for school divisions to write grants for any of these granted areas. And then when you write the grant, they award you the time, the limitation for expending. So that changes too, Dr. Bell, does it not? So, I mean, it's sensible, I suppose. We always want money, but when it comes to them advertising, I guess the federal government finds money, and then they try to, you know, get it out to school division. So you get that overlapping of time all of the time when it comes to federal funds.
Because they may add to a fund, for instance, like the rural education fund. They may say this at this time, and then in 2 months, they may add $20,000 to it.
Yeah, they do that. It would be good, I suppose, if we sometimes knew when, what the limitation of time was for.
Expiration date?
Yes, for expending some of this. If it were at all any way to let us know that.
I think in your monthly financial, it has a breakdown of the 13, when it is 13, 14.
It does, but it doesn't have the date that we have to use it
Right,
by.
like when,
Oh,
you know.
what do you mean, like September
Yes,
30th?
yes, yes. You know, what, is that possible? I don't know if it is, because it depends on when the money is awarded. But if you're keeping a track of it,
Yes, we're definitely keeping it.
yes, wonderful.
Because we're trying to spend it.
Yes, by all means.
Yeah, you have to have someone looking at it.
Gotta have someone looking at it,
Say,
so
Dr.
we,
Bill, we gotta spend this money.
Yeah, well, Ms. Beaman, we gotta spend this money.
that's it, that's it, yes. And so Mrs. Beamer, that's right, that's the federal programs, that's it, wonderful. All right, is there a motion?
Do we have to motion that?
Yes, we have to approve this. The carryover, approve the carryover.
Madam Chairman and board members, I make a motion that we approve the federal carryover budget amendment.
All right, has properly moved and seconded that we approve the federal carryover budget amendment. You've heard the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. All right. Business by school board members.
Important dates.
Mhm.
Important dates.
Oh, right, we have, yes, but that's okay. Under there, we have important dates. Number 1, Governance Handbook Training Session, Tuesday, November the 10th. Is that a good day for everybody?
What time?
And at what time? Yes.
6 p.m., if that's a good date. I just went to that date first. I mean, that's up to the will of the board.
Right.
If you want, if that's a good date.
It's a Tuesday.
I'm good.
I'm good too.
It's not good.
So Tuesday night is the only night that's good for you, Dr. Hall Leonard?
For right now. Tuesday night.
So, how do we do this?
Do we,
You could have off maybe if you suggested it off that night. Could you work it or no?
Tuesday.
What time?
May I propose this?
Yes.
I'm just gonna propose. As we go down to 7.2, and we are proposing that the board meeting that was on the 19th, because we'll be at the VSBA, and so we're proposing that we have it on the second Thursday versus the third Thursday. So I want to ask, what about if the board wanted to move that date, if we could spend 1 hour in Williamsburg to discuss the handbook, so you wouldn't have to come back out again, we'll be down there anyway together. Because everyone is going, correct?
On the 19th?
On the 19th? Could we spend 1 hour?
I'm open to that.
since we're all there.
That's fine.
When we go to Williamsburg, we go to Williamsburg on the 18th.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
I had another question because I looked at the Virginia School Board Association Delegate Assembly's handbook that I had forwarded to you, and we do have proposed legislative action in there. I think there are 9 legislative positions in the book, and I was wondering if you wanted to inform me as to how I should vote on those positions. Now, when you read them, if you think that we are for or against, I need to know, because when I vote on behalf of us. So I was wondering if we could meet on the 18th, on the evening of the 18th,
That Wednesday.
in that Wednesday night.
Okay, well, we could, and we have dinner on either the 18th or the 19th with
ABM.
ABM. So either one we choose, so if we wanted dinner on the 19th, then we could do all this on the 18th.
Yes, yes, so we meet, right, right. So we will have our meeting, Governor's Handbook, and the Delegate Assembly on the 18th.
Yes.
On the 18th.
And we could meet, we could have, Mr. Council, we could meet at a work dinner if you would like to.
Oh, that would be nice.
On the 18th.
Yes, that would be one, because we usually go out for dinner anyway. That would be nice.
Okay.
Okay.
And then ABM on the 19th.
On the 19th.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
notice says no business is gonna be conducted.
But we could revise the ad. We have time to do that, yes. Okay,
Are we setting a certain time to be there?
We'll do 6 p.m.?
6 p.m.
6 p.m. good.
6 p.m. on the 18th.
Mrs. Kendra will get the location.
Good.
6 p.m.
All right, is there anything else? And we just mentioned that you know the dates for the VSBA convention.
So do we want to change the board meeting from the 19th to the 12th then?
Yes,
Want to do that?
yes,
Okay.
okay. That's on a Thursday night,
Okay,
19 to
Ms.
12.
Kendra. November 12th. All right.
Is there any other question, concern? Right? So, nothing else to be called to our attention, an adjournment or motion for it is in order.
Madam Chairman and board members, I make a motion that we adjourn.
It's properly moved in second that we adjourn. You've heard the motion in a discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Motion is carried. No opposition.
Thank you so much for the iPads.
We're voted on all of our